at some point we started going to school ourselves. I think late primary school, probably early secondary school together without my mom. And then I remember one day we were in a bus together, and then there was a woman that was like, "Oh, are you guys sisters?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, this your sister is so fine. You, why your face day like this? I am not joking.
Oh my God.
I am not.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the blog. I'm Florence. Today I have with me someone very special to me, and it's currently I think about 1 a.m. where I live, and it's about Boma, what's the time?
Maybe a few minutes past 5.
Wow.
Yes, I think.
And we're recording this. First of all, Boma, thank you for doing this, but I'll let you introduce yourself now. Let the people know who you are.
All right. Well, like I said, my name is Boma. And what else would you like to know?
Everything.
Sadly, there isn't so much going on in my life. I'm quite boring. I like to sing.
Okay.
And be in front of a camera. That's kind of like the fun stuff. That's why I started with it.
Yeah,
But
you
then
guys,
also
if you
have
go
a-
to our
I have a-
Instagram, you'll see all of
I have a
that.
Yes, I have a 9 to 5 where I work in project management, and I think that's pretty much it about me. I told you not a lot going on. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, we can do with that. Well, welcome to the blog. And well, there's something I like to do before we get into the whole conversations that we're going to be having. Random rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask you a couple of them, and well, you answer. Maybe I'll answer with you if I like. So,
All right.
when are you the most productive? When would you say you're the most productive?
Okay, that's a good question actually, because I have a funny answer. I think most people would usually be like, "Oh, I'm a morning person, I'm a night person," but I'm an evening person, and I don't think a lot of people. I've heard a lot of people say that. So this is how it works for me. Yes,
Okay.
I have like my long day because I have a 9 to 5, so it's one of those days, and then I get back, and when I have a shower, and it's like towards the evening, like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., I, for some weird reason, feel the most energetic. So I love long work in the evenings. So usually, on the days when I kind of want to be productive, I would take like a walk in the evening, feel the cool breeze of the evening, and get back and literally be on fire. And it's so crazy
Wow.
because, like, considering the fact that I've had such a long day, I should be tired.
Yeah.
But that's actually when I'm able to do a lot of the like cool stuff that I want to do. So
I have
think
never,
I'm able to-
actually never heard anybody say that. Like,
Exactly.
so are you a dog or a cat person?
Neither. I'm
Same.
sorry. I'm not an animal girl at
I
all.
don't understand how
Well,
people
to be
want
fair,
animals running around in their houses.
I don't know, but it's crazy though, because like I actually see like dog owners and somehow I think I admire them to an extent. So there's a part of me that's like, eventually in my life, I would actually want to like dogs and
Yeah.
probably have one running around. But like cats, nah.
Okay.
I think I'm a little superstitious for cats.
Yeah, you're a Nigerian, true.
And you know, I don't know how I feel about cats, but yeah, that's my way.
What's something that you genuinely love doing?
Oh, that's a good question. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I love to write.
Really?
And I'm not even talking about like, yes, I'm not even talking about like, you know how people are like co-writers, poetry and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I try to do some poetry and prose once in a while, but like, I genuinely just love to journal and write out my feelings. It's one of
Oh.
the things that make me truly, truly happy. This is why it's weird. I do not journal as much as I used to. I've journaled for most of my life, actually. I think I officially started keeping journals by like age 12.
For
I haven't
real?
stopped since then.
I know you got
Yes.
you got me into journaling in 2020, and I'm really grateful for that. But
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you've been doing this like for the most part of your life.
And I mean, they've gotten me into some trouble over the years.
Were you talking about boys?
Some people have seen things you couldn't see.
Oh
But
my gosh.
genuinely,
Oh my
it's one
gosh.
of the things that make me truly happy. So yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Today I wanted us to talk about something that is very like personal to both of us because we are friends and we've had this conversation like sometimes and a lot of other times. And we've talked about like beauty standards, how we feel. I feel like we actually talk to each other about like, oh, today I don't feel like I'm beautiful today. Like we struggle a lot with our looks, like the beauty standards, body image, everything that the world has created. Ask so do you feel like you belong or you stand out?
In a bad way, yes, I do. Let me explain. I
Okay.
mean, I feel like you had this question with do you think that like, you stand out and you're unique and special and you look like fine and different, like a positive standout, right? Well, no, I think I do stand out, but sadly, I feel like for most of my life, I've always felt like such an outcast.
Why?
And I don't even think it's as unique as I used to think it was, because I mean, as I grew older and started having a lot of conversations with people, I realized that a lot of us actually feel like we do not belong here, and we've just constantly lived our lives feeling like, oh, we're so different and all of that. So, I mean, I feel like I have gotten to be better, but like for most of my life, I can tell you for sure, I always felt like the different one in the room, the one who probably wasn't smart enough, who wasn't as pretty as everyone else, who wasn't as this as everyone else. I just always felt like there was definitely something not as good when it came to me. So yeah, I have felt that. Maybe not as much anymore, but definitely it's something that I have felt in my life.
Oh, I think I can relate to what you're saying about not feeling like you belong in the room. But mine wasn't. I was really like, I've been like a very smart kid like my entire life, right? But I think it had to do with looks because there's this belief system that was passed from my aunties and like certain people onto me, because I just remember that conversation, like we were sitting at home and they were talking about like siblings being like how sisters can be like one person is beautiful more than the other person, and as a child I said it like, well, you're a child, like you don't call it child like faith, wherever it was. I just said like, oh, but me and my sister, we are like beautiful, nobody is better than the other person, right? And then they're like, no, your sister is always going to be more beautiful than you are.
No way.
And I think that thing has stuck with me for like the better part of my life, even till now. Like I always used to say like, oh, I hated taking pictures. I did not see myself as pretty. And even when people give me a compliment like, oh, you're so pretty, I'll be like, oh, they're doing it just so to be nice. Like it's not like they mean it. But then it's something that I'm trying to unlearn. And I don't even think like a lot of people know it, because people think that when I go on Instagram, but my friends like you and other people that know me know that I struggle with, oh, I can't post this, I don't look good in it. And then you guys have to always tell me like what this is like. So it's like, okay, all right, maybe I am that girl. And I think I have to always constantly tell myself like, oh, you're not that child that they said that thing to. You're not that person, you're pretty, so I have to just be saying all these things to myself, and sometimes it just sucks. So I think I can actually relate to what you're saying. But
this is funny.
Yeah.
Because we actually never talked about the story, but like I cannot tell you how similar we are when it comes to this particular thing. So I have 4 sisters, right?
Yeah.
And my 2 sisters are like extremely gorgeous, obviously. You know a couple of them.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. My older sister and I were talking about it very recently, a couple of weeks back. And I was telling her when I remember there was a time. So my younger sister and I, at some point, we started going to school ourselves. I think late primary school, probably early secondary school together without my mom. And then I remember one day we were in a bus together, and then there was a woman that was like, oh, are you my sisters? I was like, yeah. Your sister is so fine. You know your face being like this.
Oh my god.
I remember that day like it was yesterday.
What?
So like hearing you say this,
like people can be so cruel. Like they're not even. You don't know. She doesn't know you guys, but that's the thing that she decides to say to kids.
not be sisters? Why you
Wow.
there like this? Because I mean, so
It's crazy actually. Like even now that we can laugh about it, it's actually like really crazy.
And I think why it's so crazy is because like I was so young, and I feel like I still see that moment so glaring in my head.
Yeah.
Because it's something that stopped me. So like I'm kind of like the darkest amongst my sisters. I'm the one who was told like I didn't exactly have like the feminine features and all of that.
Yeah.
So my sisters like extremely pretty. I had dark lips. They had like pink lips. They had all these things. So I had always felt like, oh, I was a different one, you know, amongst them. And it's funny because like I mean I think we're going to eventually start talking about modeling.
Yeah.
But like that was even kind of my excuse, you know, even when it was supposed to be a good thing that I was modeling and they weren't. I kept saying, and it's something I even still kind of say, I think, that oh, like I don't have like very feminine features. I have like really nice bone structures, but they're not like very feminine. That's why I can pull off modeling looks. But like up until recently, I realized that there was insecurity underneath that statement, because I'm like, why do I have to compare my facial structure and try to like make me feel good or better, just like against like the whole my sister's comparison? So I think it was so wild that I heard you say this, because like I remember that day like it was yesterday. And I grew up.
It's so crazy.
Constantly feeling like, you know, my younger sister. Because the reason why it's my younger sister, because we're the ones who are like closest to age. So like we're always like together, like twins. And then somehow she had like fuller hair and never really had hair. She had like pink lips and never really had pink lips. So it was always so
been very hard.
Hearing you say this is actually crazy. But yeah, like I think we're actually more similar than we were willing to admit. But yeah.
Like, it's so crazy because I don't even know why anybody would say that to kids.
I
hope that she's found Jesus at this point in her life, wherever she is. Anyway, like, with how we feel and social media and the world telling us, like, oh, this is how you should look as a woman, this is how your body should be, like, generally, like, they're just these beauty standards, body images that people are portraying on social media. And with the way that it is, like the exposure that we have right now in the world, it is inevitable for us to like not see it and compare ourselves to other people. So how do you deal with like the insecurities and the comparison, and how do you like, I feel like I'm trying to say, how do you make yourself, like, how do you tell yourself like, don't compare yourself to this person? Like, how do you deal with those, like the noise, like how do you tune out the noise, like, oh, that comes with the whole...
I mean, I think I can finally talk about like what it means to like partly be in the modeling industry, because I mean I was talking about my 9 to 5 a lot, but like I kind of got back. I started modeling professionally in 2020. I didn't do it for a long time. I took a very long break and I kind of just go back recently. And one of the most fascinating things that I learned about like being in that industry even for such a short time is, so I'm 5'6", and I have never in my life thought of myself as a short girl. I know that I'm not tall, but I just never thought that, like, it never just crossed my mind like, oh, I'm short, because I was like, oh yes, for a girl, and I'm okay, you know, like an average girl. And then I got into the industry and like trying to get into agencies, people reaching out to me, and immediately I say, oh, I'm 5'6". Like, oh, so sorry, you're not tall enough. And the reality of this height insecurity, it was like Nigerian film, from not even ever thinking about my height to constantly feeling like, what can I do? Lord God, I wish it was something like weight. I could just maybe eat a little more and add some weight, or stop eating and starve myself. Or like, what can I actually do to be taller? I'm already too old. I don't think I'm growing anymore. So it was actually quite depressing. And just generally being there, like, I worked with some girls, because I'm a size 6, and then there are people who are not as skinny, and you just hear like certain statements. I'm like, these people look okay to me, and then there's just a constant, you're not this enough, or you're not that enough, you're not tall enough, you're not skinny enough, or you don't have enough hips, or your boobs are too big, or they're too tiny. There was just always something. There is just always something that is not enough. And recently I read something like in passing on Instagram, and it was just the truest thing I had ever seen. A woman talking about how beauty standards are actually constantly changing.
They are. Like, do you know what's crazy? We went from Paris Hilton face to Kim Kardashian, And now we're back to a different Kim Kardashian era where she's now skinny, where she's taking out everything, and then everybody wants to be like that. So it's like we're constantly running in circles. Today they're going to say like, oh, you know, remember when in Nigeria Agbani was raining, right? Then every skinny girl, boys are like, oh, Agbani Derego, like you're hot. And then we now went to the part where now you have to have body. Like you don't have a bum. Boys are like, you don't even have bum. You don't have this. You don't have boobs. Then before, they used to laugh at people that had all these things in excess. But now like that's what is trending. So it's like if you constantly want to be running around,
you can't
see, you're never going to see. There's always somebody that's going to have more something than you have. There's someone that's going to be more beautiful than you are. There's someone that can afford all the beauty products in the world. There's always going to be something. And like we always have to learn how to tune out that noise. Like have a time for yourself. Turn off the noise. And have self-care days. Do something with your life. Like do something that makes you feel like you are that, because you're actually that person. See, God did not create you in his image for you to now start feeling like you're not enough. Like the person that made you has called you enough, but the one wants to tell you that you're not. Like it's just crazy, actually. And I don't know.
So that's just it, really. You have to. I think it just really starts and ends with self.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, understanding that like I didn't make myself the way that I am.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, it's easier said than done. I can't even lie that there are days when I'm like, oh, I wish I had more days or I had less days. But if I think we spend a little more time focusing on ourselves, and kudos to you, I'm just going to put it by the side. You're becoming a gym rat. I love that for you.
But you know, that's something else I was going to talk about. Like, yeah, we talk about doing things for ourselves, doing this for ourselves. Again, you know, sometimes people want to do like these things, like go to the gym, all these all these very healthy things, like eat right, go to the gym. But then again, are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for the validation of others? And I think, I think that's something that we should, because sometimes you're genuinely like happy with how you look, but then you're just like, oh, this is what everybody's doing. Everybody's going to the gym. I don't want to feel like I don't have my life. And we're like, the world right now, everybody wants to have their life together. We are so obsessed with, oh, this is what everybody's doing right now. Like,
I mean, it's social media. So why not me, right?
And my whole going to the gym, I think, like, before, I used to be so insecure about going to the gym, because there are times where people have been like, oh, what are you going to do at the gym? And then it's like, you're already small. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? I never remember.
What was I saying? Oh, gosh. Let me see.
You're talking about... Was it people commenting on other people's... I was asking you what your thoughts were. I was asking you what your thoughts were on...
Yeah, I was talking about that with my friend.
Yeah, somebody that the person that asked you that if you needed food, like
wild,
ask you like, but did you ever confront her about it? Like, did you tell her that you...
See, it was one of the most shocking, because people had said stuff about me, like I'll just overhear like stuff from other people that people had said. Nobody had the guts to walk up to me and literally call me poor because of my weight. So like I was actually confused. I think I went back to my room and I cried a bit, but then after like just being emotional for a few minutes, I just got extremely angry. I told everybody that was really to hear that like, you are a piece of shit. And that was like the last conversation. Whatever, we were already good friends. That's the crazy thing. Like we just knew each other from church and stuff. But like that was the last time I was like counseled. I mean, like, why would you say that to anyone? You don't even know me. Like, you don't know like what's going on. But like you should even. I honestly, like, if you have concerns, you can ask. I'm very.
No, but like you know, like I get what she was trying to do, but like the way she went about it was just totally wrong. Like,
to be honest, I can't even lie to you that actually seemed very dirty. Like, I understand you saying maybe she was trying to be concerned, but it didn't seem like concern. It actually seemed like bullying. It actually seemed like she was trying to like do it for herself, to like make herself feel smart or good or something. It wasn't from a place like, when someone is being stupid from a place of concern, I get it. that wasn't from a place of concern. It was just very shitty.
Yeah.
And just, I feel like, I don't know what point she was trying to prove, but like, it was actually crazy. But I'm even saying, like, it's actually, I don't mind people, I don't like people's opinions when they're not asked for. So what I would rather do is, I'm a bit concerned. I just wanted to like find out if you're okay. And I just noticed you've lost a bit of weight. Like, I don't mean to pry. I mean, there's a reasonable way to say this. We weren't 12, like we were in uni.
And again, I feel like people think it's okay to tell skinny people like, oh, you're skinny, you should eat more. And then people just think that body shaming is limited to just fat people. And then when you're skinny, like they have all the I think there was a time where I'm just like, you know what? I don't care.
Like, I was actually
I don't
very
care.
depressed at some point.
Yeah.
Like, from my weight. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's on the bigger side. And it was going to get into an argument, but I realized, you know what, it wasn't even worth it because
they remind you how lucky you are that you're not big. It's weight you can always add weight. Meanwhile, there are people suffering with there's people suffering from anorexia. There are people that struggle to eat. There are people that have hormonal issues. Like, okay, the thing about my body that I don't even think people know, maybe it doesn't really show, but because I know myself, I see myself like when I'm naked, is I'm always bloated. I'm sorry, I have this crazy flu. I'm always bloated. Like, if I eat this kind of food, my stomach, like, sometimes it's so big that it's so hard. And I've had it like since I was a child. So like, I'm always gaseous, like I'm bloated. Like, a lot of things, my body rejects a lot of food. So it's like, I can never truly explain to someone like, oh, this is how I feel. But then it happens to me, and for someone that is so small, why do I feel so? Like, why does my body feel so big? Yes. But then someone just out of nowhere would just come and give me like, oh, you should drink more milk. Bro, I'm lactose intolerant. So now what? Oh, you should, please, let's stop with the whole, don't tell me what to do if you're not coming from a place of, oh, what's going on? Like, are you okay? You look like you don't look good or something. Like, there's a better way to say it to someone, and but I think people are always going to just be people, so I've given up on trying to
just shut it. I mean, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it just bothered me that, like, the issues I had didn't seem like they were big enough. With like certain people like saying, oh, this actually does bother me. And there are days when, I mean, for the longest time, I couldn't wear, look at what I'm wearing. I couldn't wear this. Like, I was so insecure about like my collarbones. I would always have big t-shirts on because I always felt like, and it's the thing about like being underweight and all of that is it's actually even more, I feel like it's more psychological than it even is physical. True. Because there are times when I might not even be looking as bad, because I mean, when you're underweight, you're not exactly looking the healthiest. Like mine is not just like weight, like it's reflecting my face, my everything, my eyes. You can just tell that, oh, she's not okay. But like, it's also a psychological thing. But because even there are days when I'm not feeling so bad, like body wise, in my head, I'm outside and I'm just feeling like everybody is looking at me.
Yes. Like, why? Like, why are you so small?
All of that. Yeah. Like, I was constantly in my head feeling like everybody's looking at me like, oh, why is she so skinny? Oh, does she have HIV? Oh, why does she this? Because like, those are the voices that I've heard people even say to me. So they've like stuck in my head.
Yeah. And
then, I mean, African men will always be African men, and you're just like walking around and people are constantly saying, oh, money, oh, this, and somehow thinking that it's supposed to be funny. But not even knowing like the demons you're having to fight on your own, and then constantly doing these things. But it's a real struggle, and I don't think it's something that should ever be on your mind. Like, if you're not in my body, but people are like, oh, you're skinny. Do you know how many people are going to the gym to be as skinny as you are? I'm like, okay.
That's them. Like, you know, like, that's them. Have you asked me what I want? Like, you're telling me what someone else wants. Exactly. Did you ask me what I want as a person? Well,
it's just crazy.
I don't know. I feel like because of the whole thing where people talk about like, oh, how, like when me, I don't know, as a model now, do you like using makeup? Do you think that you love, like, do you love makeup? That's the first question I want to ask you first.
Do I like, I need to hear that again. Do I like using makeup? Was that what you said?
Yeah, do you like using makeup?
It's so funny because like I was thinking about this today when I did a bit of stuff on my face today for the first time in a while, and then I was just randomly remembering how I actually fell in love with makeup in my second year in uni. So I come from a pretty conservative home. Well, not exactly. I think my mom is the one who was conservative, and I was like sort of closest to her at some point. So we'd always like go to church together, go everywhere together. So I kind of wasn't the teenager who experimented with makeup.
Okay.
And didn't do it like throughout secondary school to my first year, and then in my second year, I can't even remember when. I remember my first ever makeup. My roommates then, Jennifer and Cornet, bless them, were literally the ones that put the first makeup on my face in my second year in uni. And I can't explain it in English language. I just know it's kind of how you fall in love with a man. I'm quite dramatic, but like I promise you that's how it felt with makeup.
Yeah.
To the extent that whenever I was having like my issues, like mentally, and I wasn't in the best place, it was my actual go-to. So I would either journal or I'll just make up and like take pictures. That was like the one thing that made me, feel relieved from all of the emotional mess I would always feel. So even my friends knew, like whenever I was like trying to play dress up or just make up, they'd be like, "Oh, man, something's definitely or something was wrong with her." So she's like picking up makeup because it makes her feel good. Like people around me knew just how much I loved it. And why makeup is funny is because like I was very insecure, and then somehow I got into makeup and it helped me to an extent. I don't think people talk about makeup like this. People talk about makeup in such a bad way that like they make it seem like makeup is only used by people who are insecure
Yeah,
to cover
to
up
cover
their
up their
insecurities.
insecurities. Yeah.
That's kind of how it started for me because I liked that I would make something on my face and I would just look prettier than I was feeling inside. But I'm not even lying. At some point, I feel like transitioning from that into actually getting comfortable with like my natural face, makeup was a big part of it. I can't really explain it, but like I got from using makeup to feel good about myself to not caring so much about how I felt even when I didn't have makeup on.
Ooh.
So I'm such a big advocate for makeup. I love the art of makeup. I enjoy just watching and using it and seeing people use it and all the creative stuff that could come up with it. I just also love and appreciate the fact that I have gotten to a place where I'm not dependent on it. I actually do like my face without it. So I think I'm quite lucky with that because I haven't like just stopped with makeup and be like, oh, I can't, exist without it. I like my face without it, but I can't even lie. I'm also quite obsessed with makeup.
Well, hearing you talk about makeup in that light is very different because I don't know me. I feel so uncomfortable with makeup, and it's not even. I don't know why. I don't think I can ever explain it. I just feel like not myself with makeup. Like I think it just makes me more conscious of the voices are louder with makeup on my face. It's like people are going to see that you're really not a pretty person. So just stop the facade and so that's me and makeup. But
I think it's okay to feel that way about it, honestly.
But speaking about like the way the world is changing, like shout out to Riri and everybody that is making like black girls have like makeup for their faces, like products. Because before people used to look so ridiculous with makeup. Because people wear shades that are so off.
You have a lot of options.
Like speaking of Rihanna, right? Like I feel like in the way that she even embraces her body, like being a pregnant woman and still like saying, "Oh, I'm going to wear what I'm going to wear because I'm pregnant doesn't mean that I'm going to start looking a certain way." And that's something that I feel like growing up we never really saw. Like we saw pregnant women to be those people that when you're pregnant you just look you just look different. And like that's leading up from I think I'm trying to ask you now when I'm talking about Rihanna, I'm trying to say like who are the people that you follow on social media that make you feel like okay, like this person can do this, then I can do it as well? In a world that is so pop culture influence, like who are the people that you're following because of to make you feel like, oh, if this person does this, I can do it too. Like if they feel like they are this person, me too, I am that girl.
Okay, so this is I wouldn't say an unusual question. I mean, it's not unusual. I think the answer might be unusual. I was saying that I am not a stunner of human beings. The thing about social media is like, and I feel like we know it, we just refuse to believe it.
We do, like, you know, even when, like, I was going to say, like, even when people compare
Yeah.
themselves, because you're actually comparing yourself to someone's airbrushed life, someone's
Exactly.
someone's
It's all festive and
someone's, like,
what's
how do I
that
even call it,
called?
to your own behind the scenes, like,
Exactly.
you are living
Nobody-
with your, like, because these people, like, even if the people that come to share their problems with you, they're not actually telling you, like, everything. And it's
Yes,
even the
they
same
can't.
way that
I mean,
you see somebody
yeah.
like buy, like, someone can afford to buy a car, a house, or this, and you're shouting, like, that's their time lapse testimony. Like, this is, you don't know, like, what they were doing 2 years ago, where they were 2 years, like, you can understand, like, we just keep, like, that is someone's brushed life to your own behind the scenes. It can never be the same. It can never be.
Even when people come and say, "Oh, this is my behind the scenes," like
sometimes
and
it's so edited. Like, I don't think that.
okay, you can't
Like,
just come
yes,
and
even if it wasn't
say
edited,
it.
like, okay, yeah, even if someone came to tell you that this is my behind the scenes, you cannot compare your journey ever to someone else's. Like, I don't think that anybody is called to do the same thing. Like, we're not called to do the same things. We're not called to have the same journey. So someone can go from point A to B, and you can do A, B, C, D before you get to the breakthrough. So, like, just, I don't know. It's hard. I know it's hard. Seeing that, because that's
people hasn't always been it for me. Because I'm just like, what exactly are you standing? Like, I would appreciate your art, and if it's makeup, if it's your clothes, I would like those things. But like to just say, "Oh, I am really looking up to this person," or all of that. Like, I don't really know how to do that. Because people are really saying a lot of things. I like mentorship. I like close mentorship where we can have true conversations. I could share my struggles with you and all of that. But all of the, just really standing people and saying, "Oh, I'm really looking up to this person," blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It doesn't really work well for me. So I don't know if I can even call names. I just know I have people who I admire their art. I admire their journeys in corporate world, in fashion, in art, all of that. I enjoy what they do. I see what they do. I try to learn from them as much as I can. But that's really about it, honestly.
Okay, I'm going to divert a bit to like your general life. Like, how did you get into music? How did you come from? I don't know. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions at once. You're going to just talk about it. I'm going to ask how you went into music, how you came from being an engineering student or graduate to doing modeling, the job you have now, every other thing. Like, I think this is basically missing. Just tell us, like, how you managed to get into all these other things that you do.
Okay, so first off, I think I mentioned that my mom is quite conservative, so I was a church girl. I grew up in the church, so it was one of those situations where I was in a small family church, and I mean, they needed choristers, and they were like, "Okay, we're just going to pick a few teenagers there and give them big ass
like
t-shirts, white." I remember my first.
Oh,
I was like 11.
Really?
It's so weird that I remember. I remember it so well. Yeah, I was like 11, and there was this like this very big white choir shirt. And I was like, "Okay, just get choir." And that's really how music truly started for me. I feel like I can say I do come from a musical family. My dad loved music, so we always like had music playing in the house. He loved Makossa and Fela and reggae.
My house too.
And my brother was like number one R&B soul influence in my life, because he would always play his Jules and Brandy's and
checking to see if my videos look at it.
I did grow up listening to a lot of good stuff, actually. I can't even lie. But then singing was really always just me being the church girl in choir. I grew up in the choir till even uni. I have just always found myself singing. At some point, I got to learn to play a few chords on the guitar, so I would write music, I would just put out covers, all of that good stuff. So music has kind of just always been there for me. And I think I talked a little bit more about like makeup and how I just got to like fashion. It's just one of those things I fell in love with, and I just loved the way it made me feel. Like putting makeup on my face and playing dress up, I just always really enjoyed it, and it actually did help my mental health. as a young adult. Then I've also always really loved maths. And I think for engineering, it was just like maths was kind of it because,
Yeah.
my parents was like, oh, you have to be in like science class and all of that. And nothing else just made me interested. But engineering and calculations and it seemed like the one thing that I could probably do because like I do have a passion for maths. It's not even it did matter. I still do enjoy maths a lot. So I think that was engineering for me. But like I figured I wasn't sure I really wanted to practice. I worked in a few engineering firms after school.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't sticking. So I kind of then dived into project management, which is what I do right now for my corporate job. However, I mentioned that for a bit, did modeling professionally just for a bit, but I recently got back into using them as, doing it as a side thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a lot juggling all of that. I can't even lie, having a full 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job, and then having to still go for shoots and all of that. But I think I'm doing pretty okay. I think that's what happens when you love something.
Yeah.
Even when it's tough to handle it, I still just somehow make it happen.
I know that the people that are watching, and I know that it's not but just two of us that feel the way we feel about the things that we've struggled with, or we are struggling with, or the ways that we are trying to be better people, the things we are trying to unlearn, the things we are learning, the ones we are relearning. So if someone was watching this and struggling with the things that we've mentioned, what's going to be your advice to that person?
Okay, so the first thing that literally just jumps out of my head truly is identity.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these things are more foundational than surface level.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times we're trying to attack these things from, I don't like the way my eyes look, I want to fix my eyes. I don't like the way my butt looks, I want to fix my butt. But we do not realize that a lot of these things are intricate, I think that's the word, and they're more foundational, they're deeper than the surface. So for me, I feel like for every time I think I just even mentioned something like that, for every time I've truly wanted to heal or get better at how I felt about myself, I had to look at the things that are not really easily seen, dealing with, because a lot of things are more psychological, a lot of things are more spiritual, I have to say, than they're physical. So what is truly your identity? Like, where are you?
You getting it from? There's this time where I heard it from church. Pastor Stephen has said it one time. It's like look at the mirror. Yeah, it was more like your image, like I'm created in God's image. But this way he put it, like talking about a mirror, like to spell it the other way. So like you're a reflection of who God is. Like you're not just anything that anybody's calling you.
Exactly. So that's where is your identity from? I think it's the first thing we have to deal with. A lot of these things are not just surface level, because no matter how much, that's why we see that even in the world today, people who do plastic surgery today, tomorrow they don't really like it.
Yeah, they don't like it, or they want to, like today you see somebody has done their body and then the next week they've added more to that because it's like, oh, I don't like how small it is, and like it's always going to be something. Yeah.
It's just and one person that's really constant, which is God and our creator, and the fact that he made us how he made us is truly the only constant thing. So sometimes even with me, when I do struggle with how I feel, I have to constantly, it's not easy, but you have to constantly remind yourself who you are, like who are you, like where is this identity coming from? Is it the way my head looks today that makes me special or makes me Boma, or is it the way my eyes look today?
Sorry to cut you short. The times where people are actually complaining about like, oh, I don't have like figure eight, I don't have a butt, I don't have this. But then when you go back to your genetics, your parents, the people that even gave birth to you, don't have it. So where are you going to get it from? Like, where is it going to come from? So I think it's contentment. I think you have to learn to be like, okay, this is it. This is how God made you. What are you going to do about it?
You just learn to appreciate it, because I also do not, because my friends always tell me, oh, Boma, you always act like you don't see when things are ugly. Honestly, and I've stopped feeling bad about it. I feel like difference is good. I feel like variety is good.
Yeah.
So I'm the one person who would see someone today who doesn't look like the other person that I admired yesterday. I'm like, oh, you're still very beautiful. I like the fact that this is different about you. So I'm also just of the opinion that like it's okay to like be different from someone else. Like we can't all be the same. It's one of the things that fascinates me the most about God, because sometimes I just sit and I'm like, how
how are we all like in your image, but we're also
different
different? Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's
So
mind-boggling.
very fascinating.
Yeah.
So I just also I mean, if you actually want to say, oh, there's nothing I can do about certain things about me,
Yeah.
learn to actually appreciate the fact that, wow, God is actually really diverse. I mean, look how he made me. Look how he made me different
That's
from this person.
all.
And
That's all you got to do. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all in this life.
So
That is
I just-
because life itself is really fickle. Like you want to please people on the internet or in the world, then people are never even going to be pleased because, like, do you know, like the people that are so beautiful and still get slammed, like people are still constantly talking about them on the internet.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really good talking to you, and I know we're going to do something like this again. Thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to me. I love you.
And I love you too.
I'll talk to you soon.